Hey, what is going on guys? My name is Leighton. I'm a professional chef cooking out of Brisbane and I specialise in making pho. So by day I'm prepping pho, by night I'm serving pho, and any time in between I try to shoot some content. I don't do cinematic, my epic B-rolls suck, but my soups are amazing. So first off, this isn't the YouTube debut video that I had in mind. But I think at some point or another, you're just gonna have to start putting some runs on the board, which is what I'm doing in this first video. Now, I've just come back from Woolies and we're gonna do a segment called What's in the Woolies Bag. Now, for those who follow my Instagram page will know that a couple of weeks back, I did this same segment where I pulled a Sony out of the bag. Got sandwich bags, salt, and this is the Sony A7 SIII, which is the hottest camera right now, and everyone's talking about it. Today, we've got an Insta360 and the new DJI Pocket 2. It's like impossible to shoot here at the store without distractions because there's just so much noise, like the phone from next door going off constantly. So I'm just gonna have to try and roll through this. It's definitely not the YouTube debut I had in mind. Shout out to my man Jason Morris for lending me these toys to play with during the week. Make sure to check out his channel. His B-rolls are much better than I could ever pull off. So this morning I had my usual one-on-one PT session. It's unbelievable. Go nhanh lên lấy đá đi em. The ice machine next door is broken, so I just keep getting people come through and borrowing ice here, and it's making a lot of noise and just ruining my videos. Alright, so where were we? This morning I had my usual Wednesday one-on-one PT session with Jason Morris. Looks like a fly wants to be in my YouTube debut as well. So anyway, after our session, we went out to the back of his car and started swapping some gear. Camera gear, of course, not other gear which people swap at the gym to get you big and buff, because I'm more natty, obviously. So anyway, for all intensive purposes, the whole thing looked pretty dodgy because it looked more like a drug deal was going down, with protein bars and gear being swapped between Woolies bag in the back of a car park opposite Garden City. Now, I've got this strange tendency to put expensive items into Woolies bags. And I do this because I think it just doesn't draw much attention. Now, when you're rocking a black Lone Pro camera bag, it's just asking for trouble. But when you're rocking a 15-cent Woolies bag, no one even notices, and people just think it's your bread and milk. So whenever I get new gear, I've got this habit of letting it rest like a good piece of steak. With my Sony A7 SIII, I pretty much dry aged that for 3 weeks in the Woolies bag before I even bothered to unbox it. Wow, that's nice. But today was a little bit different. So when I got home, I pretty much picked up the Pocket 2 and ended up doing a 6-minute vlog around the house, unscripted. Hey guys, I am currently vlogging on the DJI Pocket 2. And this is something I've actually never done before, because usually when I shoot a video, I try to pre-plan it so I sort of know what I'm talking about. But on this occasion, it was more spontaneous and it just felt right. It's hard to describe, but I was really comfortable using the Pocket 2, having owned the Pocket 1, And there were a couple of things which popped out at me instantly. Entrees. It felt better in the hands. I'm not sure, but they must have added a bit of a texture to the plastic because it feels a little bit better, a little bit grippier in the hands. Startup is instant. That took probably a second. The 1/4 inch on the bottom is ingenious, and it's about time because on the Pocket 1, I used to have to attach something through here, which then attached to a GoPro accessory in order to mount it to a little tripod. So now there's no mucking around. I can just pick any mounting plate and be able to mount it straight onto a little tripod. I just don't care anymore. Even when mum comes past, I'm still rolling. Number 4, sensitivity of the gimbal I felt has changed a little bit. There's more drag now, so when you pan or tilt, you're gonna exert a bit more force in order to get it to move. On the Pocket 1, when you did the same movement, the gimbal moved really quickly, which can add to jerky movements in your footage, but I think DJI have done a great job at sort of tweaking this a little bit to preserve your footage. Can you? Không. Sorry, hồi tối con đang quay trễ, con quên cắm nó vô, ok? Con cần quay cái này tại vì nếu không nó rất là ồn. So last night I was filming and I forgot to plug in the ice machine, and now mum's come in and cracked the shits because there's no ice and it is like 35 degrees here in Brisbane today, and there's no ice for the cafe because their ice machine broke. Ran hot. Now, only after a couple of minutes shooting, it felt really warm in my hands. And I was only shooting 4K 24p. And this is pretty annoying because it kind of reminded me of this girl I dated straight out of high school. She had really sweaty hands. And holding hands like happy couples do, I just had to let go after a couple of minutes because my hands were pretty much soaking wet. Same story here. It felt just really hot and sweaty just holding it. And I don't think this is a bad thing if you come from the Northern Hemisphere where it's colder and you don't mind the heat that the Pocket 2 emits, but definitely not here in the sunshine state of Australia during summer. Now, I actually haven't had time to review the footage at home yet, but I can already tell that the image quality that the Pocket 2 produces is much better than the original. Now, I don't want to get too technical in this channel, but one of the things I hated about the Pocket 1 was the image that it produced. It wasn't really nice, which probably explains why I only used it a couple of times a year. The Pocket 2, on the other hand, produces an image that is pleasing to my eyes. And I'm going to use that term pleasing image a lot in this channel because at the end of the day, you know the instance you look at something whether you like it or not. And I knew as soon as I looked at the footage on the Pocket 2, even though it was on a tiny display and I didn't have my phone connected to it, I knew already that it produced an image that I liked. So whenever camera companies release a new camera, people like to complain because they feel as though they're going to get their money's worth. And what I mean by this is people expect hardware upgrades like bigger sensors with more pixels. But when the new version is similarly spec'd to the previous gen, with just, improved color science, people feel as though they're getting ripped off because this is just a software thing. But mind you, these software tweaks play a huge part in delivering an overall pleasing image. And having just used the Pocket 2 for a couple of hours, I feel as though this alone is worth the upgrade / purchase. Pulling another expensive item out of the bag. In a similar way, I can say with confidence, being an S2 user upgrading to the S3, that the S3 with all the improvements and the improved color science, it produces a much better image than the S2. Now, if image quality doesn't get you over the line, the auto white balance on the Pocket 2 will. It is just wow. And one of the things I hated about the Pocket 1 was you had to set the white balance or else your image goes pretty funky. But on the Pocket 2, I could leave it confidently in auto white balance and everything looks the way it should. Whites look white and I don't have to do anything. Now on to desserts. And since we're on the topic of the Pocket 1, I've included a bonus video. A couple of weeks ago, the staff here went on a road trip down to the beach, and being a long drive, we were bored in the car and decided to shoot a tutorial on how to do a hyperlapse on the Pocket 1.
Ok, hướng dẫn cách lắp mic ở trên xe nhá. Để lắp mic được, để lắp camera trên xe, trước tiên là bạn phải có một cái xe đã. Ok.
Xe nào cũng được, điều quan trọng nhấn mạnh là xe nào cũng được. Nhưng mà
là phải có camera và có xe.
Nhưng mà cái xe của bạn là phải có cái tay cầm ấy kìa.
Đúng rồi, sau đó là phải mua cái tay cầm. Rồi đây. Lắp từ sau lắp tới nhá, trước tới sau cũng được.
Các bạn không xoay cái màn hình về phía mình cho dễ quay bạn này. Quay cái kia đéo nhìn thấy màn hình đâu.
Ok.
Đủ. Đủ.
Sao bận vào chặt vào đúng không?
Bận chặt vào.
Không thôi là một lát nữa là camera một đường rồi. Ok, bật lên nhá.
Bạn nháy đúp hai cái kia cho nó recenter đi. Đấy đúng rồi, nháy đúp vào thì nó sẽ recenter lại đấy.
Ok.
Và bây giờ bạn chỉnh cái nào bạn chỉnh đi.
Nó gọi là hợp lý.
Tôi nó hơi nghiêng bạn ạ.
Tự nhiên.
Còn cái camera nó hơi nghiêng không?
Rồi. Cái này chỉnh sao mình ơi?
Bạn chỉnh trên camera được mà.
Chỉnh camera trên sao?
Em lấy cái đầu nó phải không?
Không, nó có cái một cái trên màn hình, cái chạm trên màn hình ấy nó có cái điều chỉnh trên màn hình luôn mà. Không, chạm mà.
Chạm á.
Nó sẽ giống như kiểu là lên xuống với cả ấy, bạn chạm bên góc ấy. Đấy đúng rồi, bên đấy, lên xuống. Vuốt lên xuống. Đấy là recenter. Chắc là được rồi đấy.
Xin được chuyển qua video.
Ấy video đi.
Time lapse đúng không?
Time lapse, xong rồi cắm vào đấy.
Hyperlapse mà.
Em không thấy hyperlapse.
Không chỉ có time lapse thôi anh ạ.
Này, timelapse đấy em kéo nó qua bên trái là bên phải là nó vô một cái
Ok. Đây. Ok, hyperlapse.
Rồi đi luôn.
Là bấm cái nút đỏ này là quay đúng không?
Thôi, cho recenter đi bạn. Để nó tự luôn ạ. Thôi, nháy đúp mà.
Lần đầu dùng bạn ạ.
Tôi biết mà.
Tutorial kiểu gì ấy.
Đây, tutorial của những người là đầu tiên dùng ấy.
Ok.
Mục đích của cái video này là để cho các bạn thấy là với những người mà mới sử dụng cái sản phẩm này nó khó như thế nào. Nên các bạn cần phải
Mất 2 giây thôi là làm được rồi.
Nên các bạn mua về các bạn phải sử dụng thường xuyên nhé để làm quen. Thế rồi sau khi mà video cũ dừng lại thì tôi mới bắt đầu nhận ra một điều là con cam của tôi sắp hết pin các bạn ạ. Thế thì bây giờ tôi sẽ làm một cái video tiếp theo là để giới thiệu các bạn cái việc mà khi mà quay hyperlapse thì các bạn phải có một cái rất quan trọng là phải sạc pin cho cái con máy các bạn quay nhé. Ok, bây giờ bắt đầu video này. Các bạn là phải quan trọng là check cái con cam của các bạn ấy là dùng cái loại gì. Thường thì bây giờ nó dùng Type C là nhiều đây, Type C là đầu nó như này này. Đó.
Còn cái này
Ok,
iPhone.
còn đây là đầu Lightning của iPhone các bạn nhá.
Còn cái này là Chuyện khác.
Tôi nói chung là ở trên xe của tôi thì không phải xe của anh tôi nhiều lắm. Đầu gì cũng có. Ok, tất cả các loại đầu ở đây luôn.
Đó không?
Ok, tiếp theo là bây giờ các bạn cắm cái chỗ thừa vào cái chỗ thiếu.
Ok.
Rồi cái chỗ thiếu lại cắm vào cái chỗ thừa. Thế là sạc có pin thôi.
Để tay ra. Nhớ sanitize.
Ok, các bạn phải nhớ sanitize tay sau khi cắm cái gì cắm nhá. Trộn đâu trộn cắm vào Covid-19 đấy nhá. Ok, cảm ơn các bạn.
Đã đến bãi trước Vũng Tàu.
Chúng tôi vừa đến bãi biển Vũng Tàu các bạn ạ.
Vừa đến Sầm Sơn ạ.
Ôi chà, tàu kìa các bạn ơi. Bé giờ thấy tàu thế này.
And that video turned out really good. And it just proves sometimes some of the best things that you shoot are the ones shot on the fly and unrehearsed. Now, just wrapping this video up, I just want to say that I've been thoroughly impressed with the Pocket 2, having used it only for a couple of hours. And this isn't a full review or anything, it's more a first impression. So during the week, I'm going to put it through its paces and give you guys my opinion of it. Now, just to differentiate myself from every other YouTuber out there, I'm going to be concentrating specifically on how a chef would use a Pocket 2 and how well it performs shooting food. Now, you might be a chef or wannabe chef and you're looking at purchasing the Pocket 2 to capture your culinary journey. So we're going to find out whether this product is right for you. So make sure to subscribe and thank you guys for watching my first video. I'm so glad to get through that one. They say your first YouTube video is always the most difficult, but it's done and dusted. And I even shot it in probably the worst time. I mean, it's the middle of the day and there's just so many distractions going on. Usually I try to shoot my videos in the middle of the night after service when no one's around. But here, I guess, if you want to make it as a YouTuber, you're going to be able to shoot anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter how many distractions are around you. So I'm getting there.